see. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's meeting of the Safe Harbor Commission. I will call the meeting to order and start off with roll for the board members. We know already that Diane Scoggins and Irene Munn cannot attend today's meeting, but I'm going to run through the rest. Do we have Teresa Schleifer?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning. April Hale?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning. Judith Fouts?
I'm here. Hello.
Morning. Jay Neal?
I'm here.
And Grant Thomas? I don't believe Grant has joined. However, that brings us to 5 members present, which is required for a quorum. So we have a quorum, and do I need to entertain a motion to officially start the meeting?
No,
No,
call it to order.
Don't believe so. Okay. All right. The meeting's called to order. I'm still learning the ropes sometimes, you know. Okay, so today's meeting agenda has been distributed to the board members. Hopefully all of you have that copy. Does anyone have any corrections that they want to flag? And if not, I will entertain a motion to approve today's meeting agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. I'm all in favor of approving today's meeting agenda. Indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the motion carries and the agenda has been approved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion you want to have about the agenda before we then move into approval of the minutes? Okay. All right, we'll go right into approval of the minutes. The April 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes have been distributed to the board members. Does anyone have any concerns or corrections? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the April 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the April 2nd, 2024 minutes, signal by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimously for approval of the April 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes. All right, we are going to move right into a report by Ms. Carter. I see that she mentioned in the chat. Oh, I'm so sorry you went through that, Christy.
It's okay, Commissioner. I'm getting much better, but thank you so much for your all's understanding.
Yes, absolutely. We'll be praying for a swift recovery. It's fine if you're off camera. Are you ready to walk through the report?
Yes, give me
Okay.
one moment.
Okay.
And I'll try to pull it up for you all because Emily, I don't think can do it from her end. So give me one moment. And I'll share it on my screen. Here we go.
Christy, are you
Okay.
able to share your screen?
Can you all see it?
Yes, I
Yes.
can.
I'm
Yes.
working with some bum wrists, so I
Perfect.
just want to make sure. Can you all see
Oh.
that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Great. Well, good morning, commission members, and good to see you all. We at CJCC have been working right in order to release the FY 2025 Safe Harbor Commission Grant Program competitive funding. Of course, you all know that these are for the purposes of providing care, rehabilitative services, residential housing, health services, social services, services for safe homes for sexually exploited children. And we can also consider disbursement of funds to a person, entity, or program devoted to awareness and prevention of becoming a sexually exploited child. So on behalf of the commission, we did release a competitive grant opportunity on April the 5th. And the priorities for this specific opportunity stayed the same as our FY24 grant program priorities that were just approved in February, since we needed to move pretty fast. And those priorities remain the same. And those included our residential treatment or facility safe home support, prevention and awareness, and then our community-based services and underserved population services. Applications were due on May 15th, 2024, and the initial awards will begin on July 1st through June 30 of 2025. We did receive 7 applications requesting a total of $691,746, and we're recommending an award total of $368,678 in Safe Harbor Grant Program funding to the commission today. We used the same methodology as our FY24 funds, where we comprised or convened panels comprising of 2 of our internal CJCC staff members and included 1 external reviewer to review the 7 applications. We made sure that there was a justified need for the program, that the program was eligible to receive those funds, that the budget was allowable and reasonable, that they met priorities, and if they received current Safe Harbor funds, that those funds had been administered responsibly, and that the agency health was good, right, financially and programmatically. So after we finished our review, we met to discuss our applications. This was a really fast review. And with my injuries and things, we finalized everything last Friday. So thanks for commission members in reviewing the memo late yesterday when it was distributed. We also discussed our recommendations with our leadership, and we were able to leverage other available fund sources. So one of those fund sources was from our fiscal year 24 Safe Harbor funds. You all know that we were awarding $60,000 to Micah's Promise through our SFY 24 Safe Harbor grant program. The agency has not activated that award, so there is $60,000 available. And also during the appropriations process for the state fiscal year 25, Micah's Promise was provided funding for the same purpose as what their award was granted, which was for a clinician, right, a clinical nurse that would be able to distribute medicine specifically for a lot of their behavioral health issues with any of their clientele. And so due to that duplication, CJCC will just deobligate those funds to ensure that there's no duplication of grant funding. And then we will just go ahead and release a contract for the money that was appropriated by the legislature in the 25 budget, which would then open up that $60,000 that we would then reallocate during this grant process. We also had a little bit of funding left in our SFY 25 TANF grant program that we partner with DHS on as well. And so we were able to leverage some of those funds for the request in order to finalize our grant program, Safe Harbor grant program recommendations. Does anyone have any questions on the Micah's Promise deobligation and appropriation before I move forward with the grant program recommendations? Perfect. Okay, great. So as I said, we had 7 applicants. And the recommendations are as follows. One is for Youth Spark. They requested $36,800. The reviewers are recommending the full amount of $36,800 to fund a client support specialist. This is for specifically runaway and underserved youth, and is focused on prevention and working with the Department of Family and Children Services. Next is for Theros Place. They requested $120,262. Reviewers are recommending $60,000. They are seeking funding for an outdoor therapy and social space for fencing. And then also seeking funding for 3 months of their outreach team as a continuation grant. We're recommending partial funding of that $60,000 to support those capital improvements, and then to cover the 3 months of their outreach coordinator. Children's Advocacy Centers of Georgia requested $79,990. Reviewers are recommending full funding of the $79,990 to support funding for a training administrator and the trust-based relationship training for 2 staff members. And this is part of our priorities, right, with our training. And so since that met that innovative request and met that priority area, reviewers felt as though we should try to meet that full request of $79,990. Wellspring Living requested $150,000. The request is to serve the private custody youth victims of all genders who are identified as CSEC for the Receiving Hope Center. Reviewers are recommending that full funding in the amount of $150,000. It was a really strong application, and reviewers agreed that supporting unfunded youth is important and an urgent need. And so we will continue to look for additional funding to support that need for unfunded private custodial youth. The University of Georgia Research Foundation submitted 2 applications. The first application was for $105,702. We're not recommending funding for this application under Safe Harbor funds, but this afternoon when CJCC meets with its full council, we will be making a recommendation for the full $105,702 under the TANF grant program. And this specific program is requesting funding to support its post-conviction relief project for survivors of trafficking who are incarcerated and may be eligible for vacatur under the Survivors First Act that was led by the First Lady. And they're also requesting funding to support CSEC training to our child welfare professionals across the state at which is our child welfare conference. And then also having a CSEC specific track at that conference for regional staff. The second application from the University of Georgia Research Foundation was for $99,993. Reviewers recommended partial funding for this at $41,888. It's a new training initiative for our CSEC service providers, specifically our CSEC facilities. To develop a TBRI grounded training for congregate care facilities that serve youth. It's a pilot project, and they would be working with Restoration Rome and CACGA CSEC Task Force to create that comprehensive TBRI grounded training. So we felt like we did want to support that, but due to the limited funding that we had in a partial capacity. And then the last application was for Regina Safe Alliance. They requested $98,999. Due to the weakness of the application, and there was no reference to specialized services for the target CSEC population, reviewers recommended denying funding at this time. but CJCC would reach out to the provider to provide technical assistance. This is an agency that's a counseling agency, and they were requesting a lot of positions for a very, very small program. It's essentially a request that's above what their full annual budget is now. And it didn't seem as though the agency, one, would be eligible based on them not referencing the specialized services for the CSEC population, and two, their financial capacity to be able to administer a grant of that size at this time. So CJCC and the reviewers are recommending, again, a total award of $368,678 out of the $691,746 that was requested. And I am open to respond to any questions.
Christy, I just have a question about the UGA, the second one, the award's around $40,000 for a
Yes.
PhD student. Is that for a full year?
Yes, they said
Okay.
it was for 12 months.
Okay, that's all. Thanks.
Does anyone else have any other questions or points of discussion that you'd like to raise about the report? Okay, well, thank you, Christy, for doing that. That was really helpful. And at this time, I believe it's appropriate to entertain a motion to approve CJCC's award recommendation memo for fiscal year 2025.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, the motion is unanimous, and the motion carries. So with that, we have voted to approve CJCC's award recommendation memo for fiscal year 2025. Okay, we are just about through our agenda for today. I'm going to open the floor. Do any of the board members have any closing comments that they'd like to raise before we move into the final agenda item, which is adjournment?
I just want to ask if we could get sent an accounting once this has been, once these funds have gone out, to see how much we have left in the Safe Harbor account.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, well, we have concluded the business for today. I will open the floor for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion. Seconded.
Second, okay. All right, great. We have a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? It is unanimous. The motion carries, and the Safe Harbor Commission's business is officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your help today, and we will be getting back together soon. In the meantime, we will issue that accounting to the board members.
Great. Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Thank you,
Thank
Commissioner.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.